killing. When a ship sinks and hundreds of people die because a Coast Guard officer was bribed to allow the overload of passengers of a vessel that's leaving port, that's corruption leading to a disaster. The inability to control corruption is very much related to the state of the country's economy. It discourages investments, contributes to the deterioration of the overall environment for doing business, and poses therefore a major obstacle to economic growth. And in the context of economic crisis, this is the last thing we need. As important, corruption distorts access to essential public services, again, especially by the poor. In 2000, it was estimated the cost of corruption to the Philippines was equal to about 10% of GNP. More recent estimates puts the cost of corruption to about 20% of the national budget. Corruption truly hurts this country's chances in achieving the commitments of the government vis-à-vis the Millennium Declaration and the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. We only have 5 more years left, and we are very far from reaching them. We all know that corruption heavily impacts and diverts resources meant to deliver public services for the poor. Concretely, this translates to lesser government budget to fund critical MPGs. Now, does this give us reasons to celebrate? I'm not sure. So more than ever, it is very important for civil society, for all members of society, like all of you here today, to understand the value of the UNCAC as a tool to fight corruption. More importantly, be able to use it as a way of holding government more accountable to the Filipino people. This can also bring a democracy dividend by creating a space for increased dialogue between civil society and government. A sustained and vigorous effort will be needed to promote such understanding and to mobilize public pressure for national implementation of far-reaching reform and monitoring government's compliance to the UNCAC at the all level. So it is not to undermine or minimize the effect of the various initiatives that are being taken here and there, but so much more is still needed. And we must understand that corruption is fundamentally a governance issue. A focus on governance therefore provides the ideal platform for an integrated and holistic approach to combating corruption. In UNDP, the United Nations Development Programme, we believe in the critical role of CSOs in good governance to ensure reforms in the areas of policies, structures, programs, and processes towards achieving more accountable, transparent, gender-sensitive, and participatory governance systems. And the role of civil society is precisely why I cannot refuse an invitation by Joey. And that's why I negotiate exit tickets. Our goal of ending human poverty and achieving sustainable human development rests on engaging and empowering civil society organizations as well as strengthening our partnerships with them. We recognize that civil society organizations are important movers, shakers, watchdogs, not only to monitor corrupt practices, but also to ensure more positively accountable governance. Let me bring your attention also to an upcoming event, which presents both challenges, but also opportunities. And I'm here referring to the May 2010 elections. Challenges, because as we all know, you can buy your seats. So more opportunities, more challenges, B2B corruption. But I want to stress, to be on the positive side, that I feel such a great sense of hope vis-a-vis those elections. A kind of a fed-up atmosphere in the country. And again, this is really coming from a foreigner who's been here only a year, so I don't have any comparison points. And I come from China, so talk about elections. Don't put me in this one. A real sense of hope that the elections can bring about change. Change that will also positively impact on corruption. It is very important, therefore, that civil society looks at the elections as a great opportunity to mobilize support for a new generation of democratic leadership that is bent on delivering reforms that are needed today. And in this effort, youth plays a very critical role. They are actually the majority of the voters. The president, vice president, senators, mayors will be elected by the young people of this country. So it is really to them that we should be targeting our effort of advocacy and mobilization against corruption. In closing, I'm happy to know that many of our CSO friends and government partners in the movement against corruption are here today. It's a very good mix. We need to push the gains of the anti-corruption campaign, pledging the commitment to rigorously monitor the government's compliance to the UNCAC. I'd like to acknowledge our good friend Leila de Lima from the Commission on Human Rights, who will be joining us lately. Our Civil Service Commission partner, who is the implementing partner of UNDP on anti-corruption activity in the Philippines, and of course our friends and members of Transparency and Accountability Network. I salute you all for your hard work and very strong commitment. And I'd like also to extend my deepest appreciation to Transparency International for leading this event. We had a very good event last year. I understand that we're going to roll out also the issue of linking integrity with human rights, which is very important to the provinces, and I look forward to those activities this year. UNDP is with you on all those efforts in supporting anti-corruption initiatives towards the achievement of the MPGs and the promotion of human development. I wish you all a very successful afternoon, and I apologize in advance for having to leave, but also for having been a bit long. But maybe, as you can see, I'm fairly personally, I feel strongly about the issue of corruption. Because beyond the cost that corruption represents to development, to the MPGs, is again back to the casual issue. You just cannot afford to be casual. The minute that we let, through a casual approach to corruption to become a natural element of a culture, if we let the sense of impunity root itself, this kills the hope of the younger people for a better country. So there's only one word that we have to say to corruption. It's a two-letter word. It's very easy to remember. No. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'd like to welcome, of course, Ms. Marcela Rozo from the Transparency International Berlin. She had to come all the way from ADB, and she's here with us now. We also want to acknowledge our member of the Board of Trustees, Yusek Anilia, who is out there and will be joining us, and she will facilitate the discussion on issues and answers. He is known to me personally, having worked with him when I was then the GSIS Kinabukasan Fund Chair. I believe that his cause, Transparency and Accountability